Hello, welcome back to the sewing room. Today's question of the day is, how do I deep clean my sewing machine and how often should I do it? Well, it's one of those complicated things that sounds easy but can end up being kind of a long answer. But the short answer is once a year. And it depends on the machine if you're going to be able to do it yourself or if you need to hire someone to do it. Check your manual, and if you have an older machine, chances are it will explain things like how to lubricate the spiral gears, how to access the bottom of the machine, what needs oil versus lubrication if your motor needs to be lubricated. Those will all be in the manual if you, as the sewist, are kind of meant to do it. If none of that's in your manual, if all you see is how to clean the outside and maybe do the really surface cleaning that we did before, that means that really should go to a professional. And again, unfortunately, it really should be once a year. And this is true for machines that are used a lot or machines that are used a little. If you want your machine to stay in top running order, it really needs a good deep clean and check at least once a year. If your machine is used really frequently, you might want to up that to once every 6 months. So, it can get a little bit spendy when you're hiring someone, but if you have one of the older machines where you're meant to do it for yourself, then, you're good to go. But there is one more piece of maintenance that most machines do need, no matter what it says on the manual, and not quite as frequently as the super surface cleaning we did before, but not as infrequently as the once a year deep clean or twice a year deep clean, and that's taking a look under the needle plate on the machine. But how you access that plate area will depend on the machine. I have some examples here. I'm going to show you as many as I have and talk you through some tips on how to get there and what you're going to do once you get it open. Our toolkit today is a lot like last time with just a few extra pieces. You're going to need some sort of brush to clean with, or if you have an option, I love these vacuum cleaner attachments for cleaning. They're great, so either or on these. And sometimes I need these, sometimes I don't. Just a really simple tweezers. You can use the same tweezers you would use for makeup or for eyebrows, but just something just in case we find any thread we need to pull out. And then some machines you will need some sort of screwdriver to get into that needle plate. And so, typically you're looking for a flathead. And if you're lucky, you have a short one like this, because often that area is really tight. It'll be easier if you have a short one. But any kind of flathead screwdriver will do, although we don't always need a screwdriver. We'll see. This is a Singer Touch and Sew. There are several versions of this machine. If you're very lucky and you're looking under your needle plate, you'll have a machine like this because it's this easy. Plate off. To put it back on, you just line up those little guys, close it again. There you go. This beauty is an Elna Supermatic. It's a little unusual because the bobbin is behind the needle, which you can see there. And the needle plate comes off really easily. It basically just pops off like that. Now, not every manufacturer makes life as easy on us as it is for the Singer Touch and Sew or for the Elna. So usually you're going to see at least one, but almost always two screws holding that needle plate down. I'm going to unscrew this one so that you can see how it goes. The thing to be very careful of is remember that especially the screws that are close to the needle, this area is where your fabric is going when you're sewing. So you do want to be careful not to damage the head of the screw and make a rough patch to catch on your fabric as you go. This is where having a choice of screwdrivers is a great idea, because this one I can probably get, but this one over here is going to be a challenge with a long screwdriver like this. So hopefully you can get a hold of a shorter one or manage some other way. This particular model actually came with its own screwdriver, and if you're wondering where your accessories are, if you have a free arm machine, there's usually some stuff in there that you want to look at. And so this is the one that came with the machine, which will often be the easiest, but you know, use whatever works best for you. Once you have that off, you can really go poking around. I'm going to take off the foot and take out the needle so that we can see better. And this is pretty clean, but you know, this area does get linty very fast. And I forgot to say earlier that if you sew, I did this about once a month, but if you sew anything synthetic or maybe extra linty, like a fleece, you want to clean immediately under here after you finish that project, because there are probably worse things to get in here than a little synthetic fleece fluff, but not a whole lot of things. So you always want to clean this area really thoroughly after doing that kind of project. And then another thing to look out for is when you have a vertical bobbin machine, which means the bobbin is there, it's facing this way and not that way. When you put your needle plate back on, you want to look carefully and make sure that everything's properly aligned. It should go on without any force or work or effort on your part. It should just go right on. If it gives you any trouble at all, you want to double check that this area is aligned properly. And I'll have a little diagram on the screen so you can see a warning about that from Singer. So after that's all done, just put those screws back in and you are good to get sewing again. Alright, slightly better view of that area I'm talking about. What I mean is this part of the bobbin has to go easily, smoothly, and completely into this area of the where it goes. I don't really know what it's called, but if that is out of alignment, you're gonna not be able to sew. And sometimes when you remove the needle plate, this whole area can move, and so we want to make sure this is all aligned the way we want it when we're putting the needle plate back on. So if you're having trouble getting the needle plate back on, or even if you're not, you want to double check that this is all still pointed up and slotting easily into itself so that the machine will work properly. So just to repeat again, super, super, super deep clean and maybe even a professional check once a year. Cleaning under the needle plate once a month or more often if your project is fluffy and or synthetic. And you should be good to go. Happy sewing!